We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Run.
Narcissistic Nannies, the moral narcissism of collectivism. Does what you claim to believe define you as an individual and make you smarter than other people rather than what you do or what you know? Do the values you promote, regardless of their actual truth or reality, signal that you are a virtuous person? Do you believe that you are simply what you say you are, and that should be proof enough of your superior character? Do you feel like you have the right to tell other people what they can or cannot do simply because you are obviously more capable by virtue of which TED Talks you've watched? You, my friend, are a moral narcissist. Now understand, this is not the narcissism of a fabled Greek youth staring longingly at his own lovely reflection. At least he had the reality that he was incredibly attractive. No, this narcissism is devoid of any reality. This is the narcissism derived from being entitled to intellectual superiority simply because you've claimed it. And you claim this superiority based entirely on your uninformed but adamant belief in something better for society. You are better simply because you want something better. This narcissism is entirely lacking any actual intellectual effort, real-world experience, or results-based scientific inquiry, or even actual personal behavior. Because the purpose or goal that you've verbalized is supposedly so lofty and ideal, anything attributed to it and anyone who supports it is now somehow elevated to a demigod status. For example, you can say that you support cleaning up the environment, so suddenly you are imbued with a knowledge that exceeds any actual education in biology, economics, or energy production. In fact, your intellectual level is now so far superior to normal people that only a fool, or even worse, a denier, would ever oppose your altruistic and compassionate efforts to save the rest of the world. Indeed, no one who agrees with things like you do, such as your support for the idea of a clean environment, would ever question or doubt any rules proposed to accomplish this. Does that last bit sound a bit familiar? It should. It's the classic "the ends justify the means" fallacy. Of course, now we've expanded that to mean the ends justify my moral superiority, or even better, the ends justify silencing anyone who disagrees with me. We must oppose fossil fuels to stop anthropomorphic climate change. But you have no real science, no proof of success, no proof of an actual causal relationship that could be solved. But it sounds good, and you are sincere, and it is for the betterment of society, so it must be the right thing to do. And you are superior to everyone who disagrees simply because you've agreed with that idea. Since you can plainly see the rightness of the end goal where others cannot, you are without a doubt much more superior to their dim and uninformed view of the world. Why, it's as if you were on Mount Olympus itself, and far below you can see the poor benighted fools struggling about in darkness and ignorance. If only they would recognize your incredible brilliance and allow you to dictate for them what they should or should not do, then by magic they would come to their senses and recognize your true greatness and worship you for the incredible sacrifice you have made by simply agreeing with a few other people about the importance of this topic that you've just agreed with. Okay, having some fun with the idea, but here's a real-world example. It's a basic thought progression. There are obese people in America. People are obese because they have poor eating habits. One of their poor eating habits is drinking too many soft drinks. People should drink less soft drinks so there would be fewer obese people in America. And now we have the collectivist turn into tyrannical behavior. Politicians should make rules about this. But we have to move slowly for the sake of the poor ignorant masses. Let's start with a simple restriction on cup size. I'm a celebrity. I have no medical degree. I have no statistical evidence. I have not employed the scientific method to test various hypotheses. I have conducted no trials to determine the efficacy of reduction in cup size to eating habits. I have not studied the Constitution to determine if this is a power granted to the government. I have not made any effort at all to look at alternative methods. I do not even care about the impact to individual liberty, or that this may open the door to even more government intrusion into the lives of free people. I do not even understand the source of power or authority by which the government has the ability to make such laws. But fewer fat people in the world is a good thing. I'm promoting something good. Therefore, I'm the better person. I'm asked to promote this ban on cup size, and since I agree that society should have less obese people, I can confidently assume my place of superiority and talk about how this great new effort to improve the lives of people everywhere should happen by simply allowing the government to make more rules about what they can or cannot consume. After all, only a fool, a denier, a naysayer who is evil and mean-spirited would object to this lofty goal. And I have the morally superior high ground because I'm doing a good thing, right? Or take this example. Families are the bedrock of any culture. Marriage is the foundation of a family. Marriage is a holy institution. Only a man and a woman should be allowed to marry. And then again, we have the collectivist turn into tyrannical behavior. Politicians should make a rule about this, but we have to move slowly for the sake of the poor ignorant masses. Let's start with a federal law recognizing the sanctity of marriage as only being between a man and a woman. Now stop and consider. In either example, do I as an individual, or do you as an individual, have the right to tell any other individual what size cup they can purchase or who they can or cannot marry? Then how could there have ever been a transfer of power to the state to make decrees on either of these issues? If I do not individually possess the right to control the behavior of others in relation to either of those things, I cannot empower the state to do those things on my behalf. The state has no right to dictate to you which cup size you must purchase for your soft drink, and it also has no right to determine what is or is not a marriage. Those are both choices left solely to the individual under our Constitution. Anytime a piece of legislation comes up for discussion or vote, the central point on which it should be judged is, by what authority is the state wielding this power over the lives of its individual citizens? The power of the government is derived from the consent of the governed, and the governed can only consent to grant to the state powers they possess as individuals. In other words, a collective right cannot exist where an individual right does not exist. Do you have a right to health care? No, you do not. Understand what that phrase means. If you have a right to health care, you are saying that you have a right to have the care of your health provided at the expense of someone else. That person, in truth, is now your personal slave and must toil away at their employment to take care of your medical expenses or insurance premiums. Put it another way, do you have the right to rob me at gunpoint to pay for your medical bills or to pay for your insurance premium? No, of course not. So if you do not have the right to rob me at gunpoint to pay for your health care, how can you give that power to the state? By what authority does the state have the right to force me, with the threat of violence, to pay taxes to subsidize your cost of health care? Where does the state obtain the right to rob me to benefit you? Is it any wonder that the concept of a right to health care that results in the enslavement of a citizen to take care of you is being so vigorously promoted by the party of slavery? It's true, the Democrats have not changed at all. The collectivists are truly narcissistic nannies. They believe firmly that any ends they identify as desirable, such as good health, good wages, good food, good environment, good thought, good housing, justifies any action on their part regardless of the impact to individual liberty or rights. They love the thought of being your constant nanny, which of course they consider themselves entitled to be because of their obvious moral superiority by virtue of claiming that they only want what is best for you, as long as they get to define what that best for you is. And since they only want what is best for you, you should relinquish any control over your own choices to them. Let them make the tough choices for you. You should trust their benevolence. They will make sure you can work and that you will have at least a minimum wage for it. They will make sure you have housing, that you have food, you have medical care, that you have education. And in exchange for all of these things, all they ask is for your agreement to be taxed, right? Taxed for the costs involved in maintaining these amazing benefits for you. And you must also accept them as your lords and masters. Vote for them as your leaders, right? Leaders, and never, ever, ever leave the ideological the ideological purity of their political party. After all, by virtue of their moral superiority, only they know what is right and good for you. It sounds something like this. But sweetie, it's for your own good. Your taxes are just the bitter medicine you have to swallow for me to make everything all better for you. Well, not better exactly, just, well, at least it'll be as good for you as it is for everybody else. Maybe. Just trust me. I only want what is best for you, and I know what is best for you. After all, I am your Lord and Master, and you can always trust me to watch out for you and take care of you. Oh no, don't worry about those chains. They're there just to make sure you don't harm yourself unintentionally or escape. Just trust me. After all, freedom is a very nasty business and is so dirty and dangerous. You should just let us manage this whole political affair for you. Here, you watch this reality show, and then we'll let you know if we need anything from you. We might need you to protest those evil liberty lovers who can't promise you the things that we promise you. You know, they must really hate you if they do not want to make laws that will ensure you have all of these good things I've given you. Progressives hate individual liberty. They can't control it, and they know it. But as moral narcissists, as your narcissistic nannies, they want to control you so badly. They do not want you to be free. They want you to be entitled to live under their care and guidance so that they can live the life of the master of the house. If you will simply trade away your liberties for their benevolent rule, all will be well with the world, and they will be the ruling elite once more. Is that what you want? Do you really want to give up your freedom to a narcissistic nanny in exchange for the soft chains of slavery? Not me. I stand with Patrick Henry when he said, "Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." Thanks for watching. Please click like and subscribe below. Be sure to share with your friends and family as well. Also, you can visit my blog at mebeforewee.com or follow me on Twitter at mebeforewee. Have a great day. Thanks.